So, okay, this was a cool lesson. You know, we opened up with F sharp minor, and we talked about the fact that basically we never moved out of the key of A. And I just want to tell you that in any key, the first chord, the fourth chord, and the fifth chord are major. The second chord, the third chord, and the sixth chord are minor. The seventh chord drives the van, loads the gear, talks to the fifth chord. But where are those numbers coming from? They're coming from the scale, okay? So A major, 1, 2, 3. In this case, remember I told you the note name is only the address on the house. It's the location. The number is everything. So if I play the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and I lay it out like a piano on one string, you then can see that the first chord is major, second chord is minor, third chord is minor, the fourth chord is major, the fifth chord is major, the sixth chord is minor, the seventh chord is half diminished. That's why it drives the van, and we don't use it a lot. We'll use it all the time, but not right now. And then we're back to the 1. So that's where those numbers come from. So if I say, hey, let's play a 1, 6, 2, 5 progression, I obviously am going to go from the 1 chord, the closest place for the 6. I'll then go to the 2 chord, which is right above the 1, and then I'll go to the 5. Where can I get it? Right there. So 6, 2, 5, and we play that progression all the time. So these numbers are going to be important, okay? And then I told you that there's pentatonics that we know, first position, that glue the major and minor chords together, and I just want to tie that in. In this case, it's F sharp minor and A major. That's 6 and 1 tied together with this root position pentatonic. I won't play the whole thing, but you get it. And then 2 and the next major chord, which is 4, tied together by this first position major or minor pentatonic. If I said major, I meant minor back here. Now watch, 3, 2, 3, which is minor, and 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is major, are tied together with this pentatonic. And now we can interchange them. So if we've got a progression that's sitting on F sharp, I can play F sharp minor pentatonic into a B minor, into a C sharp, back to F sharp. So I can interchange all those pentatonics, and it's legal and fun, and it gives a lot of things, opens things up. And remember, since you know all 5 positions, we just have to relocate those 5 to line up with those other positions. And then all of a sudden you're skating between pentatonics you never thought were legal.
And they don't have to happen when that chord is happening?
Oh, no, it's in the key. You just do it when you want it, and if it takes you somewhere fun, that's awesome, right? So now we know in that key. So now in our UFO jam on F sharp, I've got F sharp. And remember the 4th position? We learned today that, oh, there's the root of F sharp inside my 4th position. And I said, oh yeah, and around this chord is also all the important notes. 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. All inside a pentatonic. Okay, so all of a sudden we went, oh, but what's inside? I said the important notes are inside the first octave. Well, that happens to be this. 1, 3, 5, 7, 1. Are those inside the pentatonic? Yeah. But now they're important notes. 1, 3, 5, 7, 1. What's in between 2 and 4? And we learned today that those notes are super important. They're not just passing tones like they're called. They are notes that call attention to you. So if I'm in F sharp, that's a question mark, right? Isn't it? It's like it's got to go somewhere. So that's what I'm talking about. Those notes, don't be afraid. See what I'm saying?
That's the 2 note?
That's the 4. That's the 4. And whereas our guitars are tuned in fourths, so you'll always find a 4th right under the root. And so when we're in pentatonic now, we always pass over, right? So now. we can hang our hat on that one. Where that used to be a note we just jam right by. We could start our solo on the 4. And now we have these. We can resolve up to a chord tone or resolve down.
What do you call the 4 tone?
Suspension.
Okay.
Okay, and the 2 and the 4 will suspend your harmony. They'll create that, huh? Okay, and if you're like, man, no one's listening to me. Boom, lean on that. All of a sudden, everybody's going to start paying attention. So now, where was the 2? Right after the 1 on our root. And we know the minor scale, right? So we learned today that playing it low is kind of pretty dissonant with the chords right there, right? You know, that's pretty dissonant, but I did it anyhow. Jeff Beck does it all the time. You know, start on the 2. Go up an octave. So I went 2 to 4. So suddenly that is a big deal. So now I can be on the root. 5, 4, 5. And that's cool. Because as long as I stay there, see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, man, that's pretty cool. And that's way more important statement that also we can breathe. So that was important. Those 2 notes were important.
How does that tie into our arpeggio?
I'll
Those
show
notes
you.
up there? Okay.
Here we are like this, right?
Yeah.
Now watch. Here's where the 4 is. Here's the 1. And you went, oh, there's the 2. Yep, there's the 2. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minor 6, 7, 1. Now, we know that the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, are the important notes.
I want to make sure I can hear your voice over the amp. Should we turn that down just a tiny bit? The
No,
amp
sure,
down, just
sure.
a tiny bit.
Yeah. I'm hoping I'm close enough to it, yeah. So,
Just a tiny bit. That way I can hear
there
your
we
voice.
go. Good, man. So now, 1, 3, 5, and 7. Those are always the important notes. You know where the root is. You know where the 5th is. Okay? And behind the octave is either a major 7 or a minor 7. And in this case, in our minor pentatonic, it's minor. So we go like this. If I'm looking at where these notes lie, I'd go like this. Inside our fundamental pentatonic, there's 4. There's 2. It's not in the pentatonic, but it's in the mode, right? So all of a sudden I go up the pentatonic. There's 4. I go to 5. There's our flat 6. There's our 7. There's our 1. Well, our 2's here, right? It could be an octave, or it's here. You reach back. You may do that a lot. So if I'm looking inside the pentatonic, there's the 2, right? There's the root, there's the 2. So inside the pentatonic is the 2nd to suspend, right? And so if I go down and I say, four, 4, 4, 3, 1. See, and here's the 4, a suspension. 2 is a suspension. So now they are compelling. So it's boom. So they're, you know what I mean? They're the basis now of my improvisation.
Yeah.
The other notes. So this is good. We tied in this. Oh, by the way, there was a few things we did, but the most important thing is we recognized when we did this, and that wasn't just the descending line. It was really E root position, B first inversion with the 3rd in the bass, and then D root position with A first inversion, 3rd in the bass. So it's E, B, D, A. And then we spelled out the triads just as something to do with the chords. Let's start all the way up here and we can walk it down. E, B, D, A. All 1, 3, and 5. E, 1, 3s, and 5s, right? B, D, 1, 3, 5s. A. I'm going to keep going. So now imagine that you can glue those changes together with all those inversions. Now, who knows where you're going to go with that? Now you have a way to cap your solo, right? If it's you know, all of a sudden you now know you're working those triads, those chords, and they have to comply. That's why it never, when you're like, what a letdown, because you actually didn't nail a really important note that goes with the chord. So let's just keep mining that, right? And know that in your scale, okay, if you have a G major scale, you play your modes like this or like 3-note per string.
Usually 3 notes.
Okay, good. Have you ever learned all your modes?
I don't have them all memorized. I would say Ionian and Mixolydian are probably the only ones I could pull off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And I know aspects of Dorian because
And probably Lydian if you like the Vi thing, right? You know that whole sound.
I do, but I could not pull off Lydian stuff.
Okay.
I had a Vi DVD that I worked on some of the stuff, but it never really made sense.
Yeah,
Because it was all abstract licks that I never applied to anything.
Yeah, and it's good to find what songs actually use that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
So, is there any questions? Is there anything I missed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just do that one progression, just so I don't have to do it and forget the. So the one that we did from here that went.
Oh, the.
Yes. And it had the that.
Okay, and the watch. No, did we go?
Yeah.
I think we did, right?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And then you
now,
did the bend to this.
Yeah, and then I went to.
That,
So
and
now,
then we did
and
it
look
high.
where that's in major pentatonic. So all I'm doing is I'm going.
That
So I'm
was-
doing is bending right into. I'm just going from the second.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's the second. Bending to 3. So now we've got E triad, right? And look where that's coming from. Just a C-shaped cage.
You call that a cage?
Yeah, it's cage.
Okay.
It's cage system, the oldest system, right? And then, right? And so then we have. And then. And I would have played mix against both the B and the A.
Then
I would have played Mixolydian.
Just touch on the 3 punctuation, and that's cool.
Okay, so what you want is 3 things. That easy, man.
Okay.
3 things and an end. And it'll work every time. Every time. Doesn't matter what you do, and that gets you going. And you'll think of that bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll think of that in bigger terms. You won't think of small little ideas. You'll think of 3 bigger things, like the thing on that I improvised on Little Wing. And suddenly that worked around the changes, right? And then what I do at the very end, it went to G, and then went to the F, and I broke on the 3rd one. If you watch, it's in your bag.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's pat, because you're improvising. You're on the wall.
Right.
You're reaching for it. You don't know what you're doing, but you're following the formula that keeps it glued together for everybody.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Badass. All right.